Touchdowns, a good old-fashioned All-American butt-whooping, and a lot to chew on. Why don't we hear from the victorious head coach? That's Doug Peterson. Congrats, Doug.
I'm very proud of the guys, the coaches, and really, you know, how they don't panic. You know, they don't. It's a resilient group. How they hang together, work every single day, come to work every single day, and get better. And you know, when things kind of get piled on them here in the last couple of weeks, but they don't listen to it, you know, and they come out and play like they do tonight. It's a credit to that team and those coaches in there, and give a lot of credit to them.
Fly, Eagles, fly. They get themselves the win, improving in pretty much everything that they weren't doing very well to start the season. But taking a look at the Giants, let's put this into context and what we're looking at. This is how the G-men have fared over the last 6 games last season versus this season. It's not pretty. And after the game, Pat Shurmur got a little bit defensive. And by a little bit, I mean a lot of it, when his team's effort this week was called into question.
I just said I'm not worried about their effort. I'm worried. Listen, didn't he ask me about effort? And then I said I wasn't concerned about their effort, right? Here we go again. Wasn't concerned about their effort. I'm concerned about how we executed and how we didn't get in the end zone and how we let them in the end zone.
Pat Shurmur upset there. You're saying you're pointing your finger at a reporter?
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Not in this market.
He's super frustrated, right?
Yeah, it's like the teacher talking down to a student. You don't do that, not when you're 1-5 in this market.
Everybody seems a little emotional on that team, even the players.
There's a lot going on, obviously, several areas of concern for Shurmur. Is Eli, Nate, the biggest problem for the Giants?
No. If I could point a finger without being rude, I'd point that finger right back at Shurmur and say that there has to be better play calling. When you look at the evolution of the game offensively, you see certain teams this year, the Rams, KC, the Patriots have been doing it for a long time. What's going on in Chicago with Nagy? There's ultimate creativity. I look at the evolution of offenses like the evolution of music. Over time, you had swing, rock and roll, disco, hip-hop. You had some pop music and house music, and now there's mumble rap. And I think for people that are true historians of the game, they don't really like mumble rap. It's like, it's too confusing. It's too much noise. I don't know really what they're saying. Guess what? It's working. These guys, selling. These guys are superstars. These guys have followers, and they're making money. That's what moves the needle now. Yeah. When you look at these offenses, the gadgets, the sweeps, the RPOs. What is this? Is it a pistol? Is it a wildcat? Doesn't matter what you want to call it. Maybe it's the mumble rap of offenses, but it's working. And if you guys are paying attention, you're either going to have to get on board or get left behind. And I feel like for the first time as I was watching this game, I saw one offense that was creative. And they're musically just making sounds that got them in the end zone. That was the Eagles. Then I saw the Giants offense seem outdated. It's like, I don't like your production. I don't like the beat that you're writing to. I don't like the rhythm. I don't like the sound. It was an outdated sound of music offensively. So the Giants, they have to have better play calling and more creative play calling.
Triggs, are you pointing the finger at Eli?
Yeah, Eli's got to take some blame here. In this market, he's got 2 Super Bowl rings, so everyone looks to point everywhere else. But I think
they're collecting some dust, man.
On this Friday morning, I think it's time to finally look at number 10 and say, let's be honest with ourselves. Let's look in the mirror here and let's see what we got going on. They hadn't had a first down converted on 3rd down, going all the way back to week 4. It took them 15 straight drives. So finally they got one yesterday on the 10th drive of the game. They converted a 3rd down. Eli completed some passes. His average yards through air for his completions yesterday were 3.3 yards, meaning it was a screen pass to Odell or it was a screen pass to Saquon, and they win. Right. Eli's not playing well. I think you can go through the 32 starting quarterbacks in the league, and I'm not sure there's 28 that you wouldn't rather have than Eli at this moment. That said, to Nate's point, it's not just Eli.
It's not just Eli, sure.
The organization as a whole, and I bring this email out here because you know I've got my friends. We've got our childhood friends.
Oh, yeah, who's this guy?
This is my buddy Todd DiTrapani. He's our resident Giants season ticket holder. This was the email I woke up to this morning. I was long asleep. I woke up 5 a.m. This was sent. We've got issues. We do literally everything that bad franchises do. Bad penalties, no discipline, no creativity, no life, no spark, no leadership. And that includes Eli Manning. Where is some leadership from Eli? I know everyone picks on Beckham, but what about Eli? In this game in particular, the very first play was a fumbled kickoff that was ruled down from ruled down.
Right. They almost lost on the opener.
Oh, but don't worry. 2 plays later, we threw an interception. I don't think I've ever witnessed a game where I can say from the very first second I knew there was no chance my New York Giants were winning the game. That's the feeling of a Giants fan right now.
I was there, Shriggs.
And what was the feeling in the building?
It was like everything you thought that it would look like in a movie, to be at a New York game where there's so much excitement, and it's obviously there's a lot of momentum on their side based off, they lost last week, obviously, but it's prime time, it's raining, fans are showing up in the rain, I sat in traffic for 2 hours to get there, and then to have it sort of implode in the first half. People were leaving the second half. It got ugly really, really fast, and I feel so bad for I do feel bad for Giants fans, because I was sort of standing for Eli yesterday, like, prove them wrong, shut them up. I don't want to see you on the back pages, because you mean more to this city. This city fell apart and got really emotional when you were benched for Geno. I don't want this to be how he's remembered, or to have this sort of taste in his mouth as he, they have to sort of make some sort of change at some point.
At some point they do.
Yep. We all have a little Todd Dietrich-Pane this morning, don't we? We really do. We all got a little. Listen, what was that old show, Dirty Jobs? Yeah. Where someone would go and their job was sweeping up rat pellets. Yeah, Mike Rowe, and he'd sweep up bird crap or whatever he would do. This feels like a dirty. I don't take any pleasure in beating up Eli. It feels like beating up my little brother. But he's got nothing. Honestly, he's so bad out there right now, I think he is hurting his Hall of Fame legacy. I think it's that bad. We are in an era of unprecedented vertical passing games and offense and shots deep and running up the scores. He's got nothing. We are in an era of the older quarterbacks are 41 and 39 and breaking records and winning MVPs. He's got nothing. He's got Odell Beckham, the best receiver the Giants have ever had. He's got Saquon Barkley, the best running back the Giants have ever had. And he's got nothing. And I keep coming back to that word. And I wish I could say he's got something. It's just not there, guys. The third down thing is a joke. You watch it and he just feels rattled. He feels numb or something like that. We tried to teach my son Calvin how to ride a bike, and he ate it really hard on the drive. We went down hard, and he was rattled, and he won't go near the bike. And we're gonna try again in 6 months, because he's rattled. I watch Eli. It doesn't look like Eli Manning, Super Bowl winner. It looks like some guy I've never seen before. There's nothing.
Yeah.
I hate it.
And he's not
dirty job.
Helped. I mean, we're looking at the back pages here. Of course, New York's tearing him apart. We got little Giants. We got fine everybody. Obviously, Odell getting a fine for his activities or the way he was, acting. It's just, it's a mess.
It is a mess, and I think to your point, Kyle, at some point we have to question, is he ever going to get back on that bike? And it doesn't look like it. Now, it's not all Eli. He made a couple throws that were deep, but it was the ones that he should have made. Like, there was a whole two-shot to Odell that just seemed short. Every ball that Odell was going up for, he had to come back to get. And if you're getting paid $20 million, I don't care if you're soon-to-be Hall of Fame, you have 2 Super Bowl rings, you got to make those passes.
Well, I just want to talk about the Eagles since they won this thing.
Sure. Of course.
Let's do it. After this win, are you guys convinced that these are the real Philadelphia Eagles, not the ones that started the season struggles, Magoo?
I guess I got my swagger back. And I felt like that's what I was thinking when I was watching these guys move around. Defensively, they're flying around. Eli was rattled, and they were rushing forward most of the time, which means they were dominating. Michael Bennett, who they signed in the offseason, he comes up big with that strip sack. They almost land on the ball in the end zone. What I saw in that defense was impressive, but the offense was phenomenal. I mentioned the lack of creativity for the Giants. The Eagles were moving around, shifting guys around. There was one play where they hit Ertz in the back of the end zone. Pre-snap, they had a completely different formation. And that wasn't to run 2 different plays. Right. That was just so Carson Wentz could recognize the defense. And once he did, he said, oh, I know exactly where I'm going. And that was the entire game. Had Nelson Aguilar running out the backfield, Alshon Jeffrey motioning inside the numbers, running multiple routes. The RPO was in full-fledged mode. I'm loving the fact that these guys looked like they were in championship form. And the scary part is, I believe Carson Wentz is really in championship or quality form as an MVP like he was last year. So the Eagles look scary, and that was a message not to the Giants but to the rest of the league.
Nate, I love it, and I love the enthusiasm on a Friday morning. I'm going to go the other way. This, to me, was the Peter McNeely fight. Mike Tyson goes away, he's in prison, a wildly different situation. He gets out, and, like, we need a fight.
Yep.
Peter the Hurricane McNeely gets in there. It's a circus. McNeely had no business being in the ring with him. It was that bad after the fight. His own corner stopped the fight. It was a mess, and you came away thinking, is Tyson back? Does he really have it? The other opponent was so dysfunctional and so weird I can't judge the champion. They play the Panthers next week. We'll see what they're made of. Wentz looked great. Wentz has looked great. He has looked back the last 2 weeks.
No picks the past 3 weeks, 7 touchdowns.
It's awesome, and I love that. And we're now seeing it because they're winning. We'll see against Carolina because the Giants are Hurricane Peter McNeely, and that's the worst thing I can say.
First 5 weeks of the season, the Eagles' offense couldn't get it going. By halftime, they had more points than they had in any of the previous 5 games. Right. So at the very least, I'm with you. I'm not sure if there wasn't a team in the NFL that's walking in and not beating the Giants by 20.
They're 32nd.
They're the 32nd team after that last night. So I'm with you on that I need to see a little bit more. But you can only drive the car of the keys you were given, and they were given the Giants on the schedule, and they whooped their butt.
Yeah.
They beat them up. What else did you want? I can't ask for more than demolishing a team in the division in their building on primetime TV. The Eagles, they handled their business.
Dumb question. Was Mike Tyson back?
He never was really back. No. I mean, he got knocked out by Lennox Lewis. He never was really back.
How important are wins like this, even against teams that are struggling? If you're struggling, and obviously Doug Peterson saying they're dealing with so much and hearing it, and she's saying you need to score early, and he's saying their secondary needs to step up. Even if it's a win like that, how much does that do for a team going forward?
Up until last night, the Eagles scored just 7 points in the first quarter. And they could not miss. They were 3 for 3 going into halftime. They were on fire in this game. And regardless if you want to say that the Giants were dysfunctional, those some damn good athletes out there defensively. And they were confusing that defense. So everything they were doing was working. So just like you're saying, Strags, they can only play the game that they're signed up for. They were signed up against the Giants, and they beat up on a poor Giants team.
Are we ready to wrap the Giants? Because the back says ready to wrap. Are we ready to wrap them yet?
Oh, yeah, we might have to get the ingredients to make this delicious
That's
New
a
York
wrap.
Oh, that's awesome. Look at that.
We'll talk about
Get your bars,
whether or
Nick.
not they
Get ready.
should be
I got mine.
at 1 and 5. All right, last week he showed